So with that, I like to start, and I like to start with the information where you can find the presentations, and in a few days, and also the recordings. We put this slides on the website as well, and so you don't need to copy this data by yourself to watch the slides and the recordings after the live show. The next thing I want to say is about this morning session. This is an exciting session because here we have two application presentations and one about the hardware roadmap. So we have one presentation from Hartwig Ans from the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology about the Ginkgo sparse linear algebra before the lunch, and Steffen Christgau will start about his experiences transforming or transferring a CUDA code to the one API. Then we have the OpenMP session given by Michael Steyer from Intel, and then, as I said, a few information about the Intel hardware roadmap, XPUs, that is CPUs, GPUs, and more, given by Jean-Laurent Philippe from Intel. The afternoon is then about using the tools of one API, that is vTune and Advisor. And I also like to mention the people who make this happen. This is a team who organized the website, the registration, and handle all the technical stuff with the Zoom meeting. That's Tobias Kramer, Levin Stein, Matthias Leuter, and Petra Fehlhauer and Marlies Engelke. And with that, I would hand over to Edmund Preiss from Intel.
Yeah, thanks a lot for giving me the chance to say also a couple of introductory words like yesterday. So yeah, today it's day 2 on our One API workshop. Today, and you mentioned that already, we will see a couple of examples and we'll also get the experience from people who have tried out One API and have ported applications using the One API tools. The One API tools, which by the way have been available officially since beginning of December 2020. The work we are doing, and that's the reason why we can show examples, started at least a year earlier, where initial partners, customers started to do porting. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, for those of you who were here yesterday, I mean, you have seen that we are interested to educate you about One API. We would like to get your interest, and ideally, we also like you to consider starting the porting with the new One API tools for heterogeneous environments. That really would be great. And if you need help, feel free to contact me. I will put into the chat window later on my email address, which by the way is very simple if you know my name. It is my first name dot last name at intel.com. So it's edmund.preiss@intel.com. But I will put it in the chat window. For many of you who are using Intel Parallel Studio XE, which is the development platform that has been around before One API saw the light of day, there is a transition and a very easy transition process. All the Intel Parallel Studio components are part of the Intel One API toolkits, and on the link that Thomas Steinke showed earlier from the slides from yesterday, in the introductory part, there are a couple of slides that gives you hints how to easily move from Parallel Studio XE to Intel One API. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so day 2, I'd like to bring up as the first topic a short statement about the nature of the workshop beyond what I've talked about already. It is a public workshop, so maybe I should have underlined the word public here. So public means we are not sharing confidential information. So information which typically, we have things like that in place with many accounts, so-called non-disclosure agreements. Since this is not the case, it's a public event, a lot of people are participating who definitely don't have an NDA with us in place. So we are not sharing any confidential hardware and not any confidential software roadmaps. We are sharing something, but in the very concise form, succinct form in the session. So I think there will be still a lot of use for you guys. Again, if you have interest in that, please contact me. And again, my email address, which I will put into the chat, might serve you. Feel free to contact me, and we will discuss it and then decide if you're eligible for NDA information. And that also would require to sign the respective NDA agreements. Thomas Steinke, I think, talked already about the interactivity of this event that is important to us. We have different ways of doing it. So the feedback form, which exists for each session at the end of the session, will be provided to you. We are very interested in your feedback. It was also very vividly used yesterday. We also have a polling window. Some trainers are going to use it at the beginning of their session in order to get a little bit more feedback about the audience, about the knowledge often of the audience, and the usage of our tools, of the specific tools. Yeah, use the chat window. It was used yesterday. I think it worked fine. We talked about that already. And what I also encourage you, if you have the time, stay a bit longer after the session ends. You saw that in the agenda. At the end of the workshop today, we have a Q&A session where you can ask your question also in audible form, and we're gonna respond to it. Presenters on our partners, on our customers, ZRB, KIT have been mentioned already. You saw also the names of the Intel presenters already in the agenda. Maybe a few words from my end on top, just for the Intel people, and for the other people from ZRB and KIT, I'd like to take the opportunity here to thank them for the efforts they have put into putting the material together and presenting it today. Regarding the Intel presenters, so we have a mix of technical experts. So on the tool side, we have Michael Steyer, an HPC and MPI expert. So he's gonna talk about OpenMP today. TCE stands for tools. I call it tools consultant engineers. I mean, it's maybe not the real official title, but that kind of describes what the role is. These are subject matter experts on the tools. The same is true for Klaus-Dieter Oerdl and for Heinrich Bockhorst, who are professional senior TCEs in our team. Jean-Laurent Philippe is from the hardware side, so he is in a team that is working, among other things, with accounts, large European accounts, particularly when it comes to tenders. He plays a very central role, and he therefore, I'm thankful that he agreed to do that. Definitely prone and the best position to give an update on the hardware. And I think with that, I covered everything, and like to hand over the floor to the next speaker,